Welcome back to the studio. This is a short video for the Agora Models LaFerrari, and these are the heads for the engine, and this video will highlight the proper location for all the screws that surround the outside edges of the heads. Let's get started. And welcome back. Remember, for the instructions, you'll have to go to Agora Models website and download their instructions. They are very thorough, very nicely illustrated, step by step there. All right, here's a close-up of those parts, and here's our valve cover, or our head for the engine. That would be the right-hand side. And then we have all these parts here. They are called head cover screws. So we have head cover screws type A, that's these three trees. Head cover screws type B, that's this small tree here. Head cover screws type C, that's this one right here. Type D right there, and type E right there. Oh, for step 1 for pack 9, we're actually going to grab our valve cover from this pack, which is this right-hand valve cover, and we're going to take the plug caps that we received in pack 1, these were the extra ones, and we're going to install those on this along with the gasket from the previous pack. Alright, so before I begin, do a little correction from pack 1. I had the plug cover installed right here on this part, and according to the illustration it shouldn't be installed there right now. I moved it over to this point right here, and that's how it should look. So we'll put that aside and we'll work on this one next. We'll put the plug covers on that, and it will be similar. It'd be these four running down here. And here's the plug covers installed. This point right here, note how they're not exactly pointed in the same direction, especially this one here on the end. Now we'll go ahead and put on the valve cover gasket. Now it only goes on one way. You'll note that there's this flange right here, corresponds with that little flange right there on top, so when you lay it down, everything should line up. Okay, just like that. So we have both valve covers ready to go. Now we're going to install the bolts, the chrome bolts that go around the edges here. You can see all the holes for those. First thing I'll do is I'll install these bolts onto the valve cover, and they want us to do the number 3 parts. So number 3 actually goes right there and right there, those two spots. When installing these bolts, I wouldn't recommend using tweezers to initially engage it. Use your fingers so you have control, and put it down where it needs to go. It really doesn't need glue. And then you can take your tweezer and push it down. Okay, and it's down, so that looks good. You can always later on put some super glue on this on the back side, or some regular glue. If you're going to do regular glue, you're going to have to strip the chrome off, but that's how that looks. So that's part number 3 bolts, and we'll do bolt number 6 right there, and number 6 bolt was installed right there. So before I move on, I'm a little confused on where number 6 bolt and then the number 3 bolts go to. So there's good illustrations that show where the number 2 bolts go. Now remember, the number 2 bolts, that's all these. There's a bunch of them. So I'm going to go ahead and install the number 2 bolts where they show them, and then we'll have open areas for where the other bolts go, if that makes sense. Next, I created a short video that showed you the heads for both Pack 1 and Pack 2, and then I showed you the layout of all the screws for those heads. To install the number 2 bolts, these are very tiny, and if you cut them off you could lose them. So a good way of doing this without losing them is install them while they're still on the tree. So in this case I can do that. It allows me to. I can press it in place while it's on the tree, and there's a closer look, and now I can cut it off and I won't lose it. Here you go. So I'll do all the bolts like that. And there you go. Both valve covers are complete. And you can see here, very fiddly with these bolts. And like I said, I'd recommend you install them if you can while they're still on the tree, and then cut them off. I also suggest you go ahead and take and glue down the back sides of those screws. And you can use extra thin for that. And just be very careful your fingers don't come in contact with the glue and the head, because it could remove the paint. So just be very extra careful with that. You could also use super glue if you wanted, but that's what they look like. And it's important to remember to leave the 2 plug caps off on each side of the head, as later on in stage 39 you'll be putting screws in to mount these down. Then you can put your plug covers on, and you want to make sure you have all 4 of those, which were the leftover plug covers from Pack 1. Stage 39 is where we'll complete installation of the heads. My goal here for this video was to help you out with the proper location for all the screws that went around the outside of the head. With that, happy modeling everybody, and please subscribe and smash that like button. Take care.